Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all having a fantastic evening. I am back, and tonight I'm going to be doing another movie review. Now, for all you horror buffs out there, this is not a horror film, but don't worry, there are elements in this film that will please you all. Now, that's if you're one of the few people who haven't seen this film. It's a very popular one, a lot of buzz surrounding it. So I finally got to see it, and I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on it. So, it's released in 2011. It's a film from Canada, but it's spoken in English, so it's not a French-Canadian film. Directed by Jason Eisner, and this movie is called Hobo with a Shotgun. And the story to this one is as follows. A train pulls into the station. It's the end of the line. A hobo jumps from a freight car hoping for a fresh start in a new city. Instead, he finds himself trapped in an urban hell. This is a world where criminals rule the streets, and Drake, the city's crime boss, reigns supreme alongside his sadistic murderous sons, Slick and Ivan. Amidst the chaos, the hobo comes across a pawn shop window displaying a second-hand lawnmower. He dreams of making the city a beautiful place and starting a new life for himself. But as the brutality continues to rage around him, he notices a shotgun hanging above the lawnmower. Quickly, he realizes the only way to make a difference in his town is with that gun in his hand and 2 shells in its chamber. So it's a very exaggerated, far-out story. There we have a hobo who is riding a train, who is played by Rutger Hauer, a very famous actor. Now, Rutger Hauer's character, the hobo, he jumps off from this train and he's looking to start a new life in this city. Now, he wants to own his own lawn mowing business, and that, this is the way to get him out of the dumps. So he comes to this city, but straight away he realizes that he is not going to be able to achieve his dream because there is crime at every corner of this city. Now, it's overdone. All these criminals are doing it, free of any guilt and free of any sort of punishment, because the crime boss of the city, Drake, pretty much owns the police, and so he is the head honcho, and the city is living under fear of his rule. Now, him, alongside his murderous sons, Slick and Ivan, they are intimidating the public with barbaric acts. Very brutal sort of people, these guys. And so the hobo is getting sick and tired of all this crime, and eventually he snaps. And at this pawn shop, he wants to get this lawnmower, but just above the lawnmower, he sees a shotgun. So he sees the only way to deliver justice in this city is to deliver it with shotgun shells. And he's going to deliver justice 1 shell at a time in order to clean up the streets and make it a better place. So that's as far as I'm going to go. Synopsis, what happens from there on in, I'm going to leave that up for you to find out for yourself. I don't want to spoil anything. So hopefully that rundown has provided something of interest for you all. Now my thoughts on the film. Going into this one, I had an expectation that it was going to be exactly like Machete, Planet Terror, and Death Proof, which are American throwback sort of grindhouse films. I didn't necessarily like them too much. I mean, Machete and Planet Terror are really cool. I actually enjoyed them a lot. Didn't enjoy Death Proof because I just felt that was pretentious crap. Quentin Tarantino was showing off his ability at writing a script, and it was more talk than action, so I thought that one was rubbish. But I enjoyed Machete and Planet Terror, but, I thought this one was just going to be another one like that, until I found out it was a Canadian film. Now, this immediately took my interest because I know that foreign films are very good at taking risks. And going into this one, I was hoping that I was going to get something completely different, and yes, my expectations were met. This is something very different from Machete, Planet Terror, and Death Proof, and the main difference I found was the fact that the director of this film, it really seemed like he wasn't so much concerned about the money, like Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino was. He was more concerned about making a film that he loves, in that he was brought up on films that he loved, and he wanted to make a film for himself rather than, for the money. And that's my biggest criticism of those Machete, Planet Terror, and Death Proof movies is that it was watered down so much in that it was a violent film, but it was playing it safe to appeal to a wider audience, so it was all about the money. Whereas this film, it's very nasty. The director had a lot of balls going into it, and it really did seem that he was doing it for the love of film, in that, he wanted to make a movie that would please him rather than, just make the wider audience happy, in that making something that's acceptable. And, that's what I respect so much about the film, is that it's very, very nasty, especially one scene involving a bus. I never thought I would see a scene like that. But from there on in, I knew I was onto something really cool, and I found myself enjoying this immensely. I thought it was light years above Machete, Planet Terror, and Death Proof, for the simple fact that it's about the film. It's not about the money. Now, I will go on about what I loved about it so much. The acting, I thought, is very, very exaggerated. Whereas the main character, Rutger Hauer's character, he was the same sort of person in an otherwise, very insane world. Now, yes, it is very, very nasty, but it's done in a specific sort of over-the-top way, where, yes, you'll be shocked, but the over-the-top nature kind of puts it in a different world, and that it's not very realistic, but at the same time it will disturb, but the comedy sort of value to it just kind of dampens it a little bit, and you just don't take yourself too seriously throughout the entire film. Because if you did if this was a serious film, you'd have a very hard time getting through it. But that comedy sort of element to it really, allowed me to enjoy myself. And yes, there are shocking scenes. There are scenes that a lot of people won't like. But, a film with the title Hobo with a Shotgun, if you go into this one expecting something serious, then you need to give yourself an uppercut and wake up, because it really is just a really fun, throwback to the Grindhouse era. It's done with a lot of heart, done with a lot of ability. I've never heard of this director before, but it's certainly one to look out for in the future, because he has shown a lot of courage making a film like this, making a film that it's basically saying, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it. I'm not here to make all the money and to satisfy everybody. I'm here because I love movies and I love what I do, and I'm going to make it as I see. So that's something that a lot of foreign films do, and unfortunately in Hollywood they kind of water things down a little bit, and that's exactly why foreign stuff is taking over the American stuff. Now, as I said, Rutger Hauer's character was awesome, but the villains were so far over the top that I thought that was a very fine mixture. In that, you always have to have someone who's sane and fighting the right cause, and then you have the supervillains who are so evil that they have no redeeming qualities. And it's kind of like a comic book, where you've got the hero and you've got the villains, and there's no in-between, there's no grey area, which is something that I have been criticising lately in the more serious films, is that the villains have no redeeming qualities. But in a film like this, you don't need any redeeming qualities, because it's not a film that's going to make you think. It's just a film to enjoy, so you don't need any grey sort of areas. Now, cinematography was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. Karim Hussein was behind it. That's no surprise. I didn't know he was exactly behind it until I looked at the credits afterwards. He just blended. He made it feel like a 70s film, whereas Planet Terror and all those films, it kind of seemed like it was forced. They were trying too hard to make it feel like a Grindhouse film. Whereas this one, it really feels, it's a very, very colourful film, but it's a very seedy, colourful film, in that it's like a strip club. Yes, there are bright colours, but it's in no way uplifting. It's still a very depressing mood, because it's kind of like a neon light, a lifestyle. So, very colourful, but a very dirty feel, and I thought, it's a very unique sort of way. I'm not, entirely familiar with Grindhouse, but, this one had a very sort of seedy, dirty feel to it, and it's exactly what the whole city was all about. So, cinematography was great. The soundtrack was awesome. I loved it. I thought it really did suit the mood to the film, and it helped, lighten it up a little bit and not to take it too seriously. There were some moments in the film that were quite thought-provoking, although, it never takes itself seriously, but there are enough, scenes in here to generate a very, genuine liking to the main character, and at the same time you have a very strong, dislike towards the villains, which is exactly what they wanted, and I felt that they nailed every aspect of this film, and I really, really enjoyed it. I think it is so much better than the films, as I said, by Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. They were okay films, but this one just nailed it. I loved it. I've watched it many times since the first time I watched it. I can't say, enough about it that will do justice. You're going to have to watch it to find out, just how good it is. Be warned, it is very, very, very nasty. It's very gory, but don't take it seriously. Go in there. It's so far over the top, you just can't take it seriously. So, if you want a lot of fun, this is definitely one to see. I feel it's, the best of its kind by far. I enjoyed it immensely, and I'm sure a lot of you out there will enjoy it just as much. So that's my review of Hobo with a Shotgun. Go out there and see it, and support filmmakers like this who have enough balls to do what they want because of their passion for cinema. Alright guys, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you later. Bye.